being nice is easy. It's what you were taught to do as a kid. Say please and thank you. Keep your voice down. Don't make waves. Don't upset anyone. Play along. Smile when you're supposed to. Don't speak unless spoken to. And if something bothers you, swallow it. Because nice people don't cause trouble. But that's the thing. Being nice and being kind are not the same thing. Nice is surface. It's presentation. A mask you wear so you don't offend, don't disturb, don't draw too much attention. Nice is the sugar coat you throw on a bitter truth just to keep things looking sweet. It's the forced smile in a meeting. The fake laugh at the unfunny joke. The I'm fine when you're anything but. Kindness, on the other hand, has weight. It's got depth. Kindness isn't always polite. It's not always clean or quiet or soft. Sometimes kindness is uncomfortable.
It's direct.
It's bold. It's telling someone what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. It's saying, no when no is the most honest, most loving answer you've got. See, a nice person might lie to keep the peace, but a kind person will speak the truth, even if it breaks the moment. Because kindness doesn't live in the moment. It plays the long game. Do what you say. You can be nice to someone every single day and still lead them straight into a lie. You can keep the peace by biting your tongue, but silence builds resentment. And resentment is just honesty with no place to go. There's a reason nice people burn out, a reason they feel empty after a day full of fake smiles and half-hearted yeezes. Do what you say, because nice lives outside in. It's about managing how the world sees you. Kindness lives inside out. It's about living in alignment with what you know is true. You ever seen someone tell a hard truth out of love? Look someone in the eye and say, do what you say. This isn't good for you. Even when it might make them mad, that's not nice. That's not polite. But it's kind because it comes from courage. It comes from care. It comes from something real. And that's the point. Realness isn't always smooth. It doesn't always come wrapped with a bow. But realness is where love lives. It's where respect lives. It's where boundaries live. Do what you say. When you stop trying to be nice and start choosing kindness, do what you say. You stop bending to fit into spaces that don't hold you. You stop agreeing just to avoid tension. You stop handing out fake smiles like free samples. Kindness might get you judged. It might make people uncomfortable. But it keeps you honest. And honesty, even when it's messy, is more generous than fake harmony will ever be.
Of course.
Here's a 500-word expansion on people-pleasing is self-abandonment, written in that grounded, introspective tone. Straight talk, no fluff. People-pleasing is self-abandonment. You start out thinking you're doing the right thing, saying yes to help out, biting your tongue to keep the peace, making yourself small so someone else can feel big. It looks like generosity, feels like empathy. But if you peel it back just a little, you'll find something else hiding under the surface. Fear of being disliked, fear of conflict, fear of disappointing someone who never really considered what you needed in the first place. People-pleasing isn't about kindness. It's about survival. It's about shaping yourself to fit someone else's idea of who you should be. And when you do that enough times, when you say yes while your gut screams no, when you laugh at what offends you, when you go along just to get along, you slowly start to disappear. You abandon your truth. You ignore your instincts. You trade your integrity for approval. And it never feels like a big deal in the moment. It feels like compromise, like being the better person, like keeping things smooth. Do what you say. But every time you shrink yourself into someone else's comfort zone, a part of you gets left behind. You stop asking what you want. You forget how to say no without guilt. You lose the sound of your own voice because you're too busy echoing everyone else's. That's the cost. People-pleasing drains you not just of time and energy, but of self, because you can't live your truth if your whole life is shaped around someone else's expectations. The irony, you think if you please them, they'll love you. You think if you never disappoint, they'll stick around. But most people aren't looking for perfection. They're looking for real. And if you hide who you are just to be liked, what they end up loving isn't even you. It's a version you constructed, a costume. And that kind of connection is hollow. It doesn't hold up. Worse still, the more you do it, the less you trust yourself. You start doubting your instincts. You hesitate. You second guess because you've been so busy making sure everyone else is okay that you never stopped to check in on yourself. People-pleasing isn't just exhausting. It's disorienting. You lose your compass. You forget what it feels like to make a choice that's rooted in your own values, your own limits, your own voice. And maybe it started as a way to avoid pain, avoid rejection, keep the peace. But what you say, What kind of peace is it really if it requires you to betray yourself? Or you end up carrying the weight of everyone else's comfort, everyone else's approval. Do what you say, and you mistake it for love. You think you're building bridges. Sometimes you're just building cages with bars made of yeezes you didn't mean, and silence you never wanted to give. Certainly, here's a 500-word expansion of respect is earned through integrity, not niceness. Written in that raw, reflective, and steady style. Firm but thoughtful. Respect is earned through integrity, not niceness. Niceness is comfortable. It's easy to digest. People like nice. Nice holds the door. Nice laughs at the joke. Nice doesn't ruffle feathers. Nice is agreeable, polite. Do what you say, and just soft enough to blend in without being a threat. But here's the truth. People don't respect nice. They enjoy it. They appreciate it. But respect, that's something else. Respect is reserved for the ones who stand for something, not the ones who smile and nod their way through life. Do what you say, but the ones who speak when silence would be safer. Integrity doesn't always look good on the outside. It can come off as sharp. It can rub the wrong way. It's the voice in the room that says, this isn't right, when everyone else is nodding just to move things along. It's the choice to tell the truth, even when it's inconvenient, even when it costs you something. Do what you say, especially when it costs you something. You don't earn respect by always saying yes. Do what you say. You don't earn it by keeping everyone happy. You earn it by living in a way that says, I know who I am. I know what I believe. And I won't trade that in just to keep things smooth. See, niceness is about being liked. Integrity is about being real. Do what you say. And respect doesn't grow from likability. It grows from consistency. From watching someone do the right thing, even when nobody's watching. From seeing someone draw a line and hold it, even when it makes them unpopular. Do what you say. From knowing that this person right here doesn't shift with the wind. You might not always agree with a person of integrity. You might not always like them, but you know where they stand. And in a world full of masks, that kind of clarity commands respect. Niceness will get you invited to the party. Integrity will make people remember your name when the lights come on. There's a difference between being liked and being trusted. You can be the most pleasant person in the room and still have no backbone. And people feel that. They might not say it, but deep down, they know who folds under pressure. They know who's afraid to speak the truth. They know who says yes just to avoid tension. And they know who stands firm, who walks their talk, who doesn't sell their soul for a smile or a handshake. Do what you say. That's the one they call when things fall apart. That's the one they follow when it counts. Do what you say. Because nice make you popular, but integrity makes you dependable. Being liked is a temporary high. Being respected, that's rooted in something deeper, something earned. And the currency is consistency, truth, and the willingness to be misunderstood for doing what's right. Certainly, here's a 500-word expansion of choose to be real, not nice. Written in a grounded, honest, and cinematic tone. Slow burning and deliberate, like truth settling into the room. Choose to be real.
Yeah.
Not nice is what you're taught. Be nice to your teacher. Be nice to your classmates. Be nice to the stranger at the grocery store. And for a while, it makes sense. Nice makes things smooth. Nice keeps things quiet. Nice helps you avoid the rough edges of life. But somewhere along the way, say, nice starts to mean something else. It starts to mean don't speak up. Do what you say. It starts to mean don't make them uncomfortable. It starts to mean shrink yourself so they can stretch out. And then you wake up one day realizing you've built a life of polite conversations and unsaid truths. You've mastered the art of saying what's expected, but forgotten what it feels like to say what's real. You smile out of habit. You agree out of fear. You stay silent out of self-preservation. But real cuts through all of that. Real is raw. Real says, I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to be honest. Real doesn't pretend. It doesn't posture. It doesn't perform. Being real means sometimes you say no and don't explain. Do what you say. It means sometimes you speak up when it would be easier to let it slide. Do what you say. It means sometimes people won't get you and you let them not get you, because diluting yourself just to fit in is a slow kind of death. Nice keeps you liked. Real keeps you alive. Nice walks into a room and reads the temperature. Real walks in and brings its own weather. Nice says what's safe. Real says what's true. And don't get it twisted. Being real doesn't mean being rude. It doesn't mean being careless or cold. It means being rooted. It means your words match your beliefs. Your actions match your values. Your presence matches your purpose. Nice gets applause. Real gets silence. What you say? The kind of silence that follows truth when it lands. The kind of silence that makes people pause. Not because they're offended, but because something in them just woke up. People chase nice because it's easy, but nice is forgettable. Real lingers. Real leaves a mark. Not because it's loud or flashy, but because it's true. And here's the thing, people might not always like real, but they feel it. They recognize it because we're all starving for something genuine in a world full of filters and rehearsed lines. Being real doesn't promise smooth sailing. It promises friction. It promises clarity. Do what you say. It promises that the people who stick around are doing so for the right reasons. Nice keeps everyone comfortable, except you. Real might shake the room, but it keeps your soul intact. So here it is. Stop being nice to everyone. Not because the world needs more cold hearts, but because it needs more real ones. Kindness isn't about pleasing. It's about honesty. Respect doesn't come from saying yes. It comes from standing your ground. And love, real connection only happens when you show up as you are, not as who you think they want. Being nice is easy. Being real takes courage. So choose truth over approval, integrity over image, and self-respect over comfort. You weren't born to please. You were born to be whole. Be kind. Be bold. Be real.